Hey, what's up everyone? It's MGM here again. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about creating NPCs in your game. I'm not sure if I will exactly blow any minds here or anything, but I hope to at least inspire a little bit of thought that sparks inspiration for the next idea of your game. I will not be going over aesthetics or anything like that in any way. Imagery and flavor is totally up to you, and I'm hoping to give you some tips that will fit any genre of game or system. So bear with me a little bit there. I will go over how I look at NPCs and some considerations, resources, and tips in the creation process. So let's take a look at the NPCs for your game. Now, when I'm talking about NPCs, this can span anywhere from the lowliest beggar on the street all the way up to the main villain of any given campaign. They can include the common folks, the trades folks, technicians or specialists, rulers, basically everybody that makes up a society in any tabletop game world, no matter the genre. I think you can understand where I'm getting at here. I like to split most NPCs into two basic groups, important and background NPCs. Important NPCs can be sort of like PCs and is one way the GM gets to really roleplay. Some of what was said in the player character video also can apply to important NPCs depending on how much they impact the party. Typically, it's not quite as detailed though. Background NPCs can really be filled in with a light description, and if you really want to, you can give them a name. There are tons of games that have commoner stats or other generic stats for a common person if you really care about giving them stats at all. You can always consider creating some custom stats, but I would recommend keeping it simple there. Now, when we're talking about the detail you give to an NPC, most important NPCs only really need a small amount of detail. You don't have to give them a whole lot. Maybe a little background, a good description, and a couple personality quirks can really go a long way. If any background NPCs capture the party's attention or affection, and it's always the one you don't expect it to, or the one you come up with on the fly, but take the time to flesh out the backstory when you can a bit more, and give them a more permanent place in the story. Now, these background NPCs may require a little bit more quick on-the-spot thinking, which will inevitably happen. So one tip I have for on-the-spot NPC creation that has helped me a lot is to have a small list of traits and names and even a few short backstory ideas, close at hand as it will come up now and again. Just don't forget to write down what you came up with just in case. Add a voice to the list too if you can. It can be a slight change in your own voice or a large one, but think about including a list of voices you can consider. I have a list of celebrity impressions that I can try, and I randomly try them with random NPCs. I am by no means an impressionist, and this just typically makes for a few extra laughs and a memorable NPC. Now you can set your little list up in a roll table style. I would recommend using a D6 roll table style just for ease, or you can just use it like a menu and cook up the NPC real quick on the spot. How much you prepare is up to you, of course, but at least have some NPCs ready for a game that aren't villains or their cohorts. Consider who might be allies too. Now, if creating NPCs is not where your creative interests lie, then go ahead and cheat. There are roll tables available, books of NPCs, and online resources that are available to help you fill out your world with the important people your PCs may encounter. Now, you could do a quick internet search for some online resources that I was mentioning, and NPC books with fully created NPCs exist, as you can see here. Not to mention the multitude of roll tables and other GM resources you can find in places like itch.io and DriveThruRPG to help make that creation process either very easy or already done for you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with checking that stuff out too. Also, having a random name and or NPC generator that you can find online can help make NPC creation super easy. Some examples that I'll have linked below are fantasynamegenerators.com, chaoticshiny.com, and seventhsanctum.com. These are all good online random generators that can help you make NPCs and some other things too, so I recommend you check them out. In a tight situation, of course, or just because you want to, you can always reskin any NPC to reflavor and create a new one. This works whether on the fly or if it's prepped, so there's nothing wrong with just taking other NPCs and tweaking them a little bit to make a new one. Always a nice, easy way. Now, one general approach I like to take, and for me seems to be the quickest for NPC creation at least, is getting yourself a set of what I like to call base stats, or some generic stats, basically. It depends on the game you play, but consider starting with perhaps the stats of a guard or a thug or a soldier or some other generic stat block. Whatever your game offers, take a look through what they have and choose what you feel is a good base, a good foundation. This is going to be your base stat. You can have that written down somewhere. You can just have that page marked somehow so you remember the stats. You take those base stats and then you adjust it for the NPCs that you want. Whether you want a stronger one, a weaker one, a smarter one, a less smart one, you get the picture here. But you take those base stats and just adjust them slightly to get what you want. You add some abilities and the equipment that you want to give that NPC. And now you have a quick and easy stat block and basic setup for a character. Anything else you want to flesh out, you can do as the game progresses. Really, all you have to do is add in the flavor after that. Now, many GMs in my experience stress a lot over the stat blocks part of NPCs, and I feel this is an easy way to reduce that stress, so give it a try if you haven't already. Now, when we're talking about the main baddie, or the BBEG, or the villain, or whatever you want to call it, I look at these basically as super villains. That's just how I look at them. And they're certainly considered more important NPCs to the story and have a heightened need for more investment in their development. Here is where the NPC creation most resembles PC creation and preparation. Inspiration for the aesthetics and personality of villains is plentiful in multiple media sources out there, so feel free to borrow those ideas liberally. Don't forget real-life examples as well from any time in history, because there's tons of great inspiration out there for that as well. Motivations and the backgrounds are going to play a much stronger role when creating main villains, and this deserves a bit more attention than with any of the other NPCs. I like to look at main villains in the following 3 archetypes. I look at them as super villains who are just over the top or evil just because they're evil, super villains who are motivated by selfish desires or ideals, super villains who are motivated by good intentions. This topic is a bit too big for this particular video here, so I'll leave it there for now. Making NPCs is one of the many creative outlets there are to offer in tabletop RPGs. It also adds the literal character to your world and is another way to support the tone of that world or game. If it seems daunting to you, I hope some of these simple tips may have taken away some of that stress. There will be more follow-up videos to come. As always, I want to thank you for hearing me out. A big shout out to my growing subscribers. I appreciate you so much, and I hope I can continue to provide some inspiration or at least some form of entertainment for you guys. But stay tuned to the channel, people, as there will be more GM and player tips, world building ideas, game showcases, and who knows what else to come. Until next time, be sure to play creatively and always play for fun first. Thanks for watching, everybody.